wanted to do was research bodega cats because there's been recent efforts to legalize them in New York City. That led me down an information rabbit hole on the history of bodega cats and how they're connected to the history of New York City. Everything from city planning in New York to the sanitation strike of 1968 leads back to bodega cats. Bodega is kind of like a convenience store mixed with a newsstand combined with a corner deli. You can find fresh foods like produce and meat, or have a sandwich made for you, or buy some pre-packaged foods, etc. And many of these bodegas have a bodega cat. And while they're frequently considered a pet or even a mascot in the store, most often their main job is truly pest control. New York City has an historical rodent problem. There are rats and mice everywhere. The rodents are not a new problem, but they have gotten worse. Some of these issues go all the way back to the early 1800s. In 1811, the Commissioner's Plan for New York was presented. It was this grid-type system of roadways with basically no alleys. In fact, it's kind of a long-running and interesting thing that in film and TV, you'll see alleyways presented in New York all of the time, when oftentimes those TV shows are filmed in one of the few alleys available. All of these different productions and more have been filmed in Cortlandt, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, alley. Anyway, the lack of alleys is important because it means that when people put their trash on the street, there are very limited places to put the trash. The sidewalks are for walking, the streets are for parking, and in modern New York City, there just really isn't curb real estate for trash cans in most areas. Also, for a very long time, people in New York were using these metal trash cans. These cans were better at keeping rodents out than plastic bags are, but because nobody was using plastic bags to line the cans, they were very, very smelly. And also, they were really loud. Then in 1968, after facing low wages and poor working conditions, the sanitation workers in New York City went on a strike. The strike lasted 9 days and trash piled into the street. And once again, at this time, people were not using plastic bags, so the trash was just everywhere. Eventually, the city came to an agreement with the sanitation workers and they stopped striking. But there was still a matter of cleaning up all of the trash. Plastic bag manufacturers saw their opportunity and they struck. They donated plastic bags to help New York City clean up all of this garbage. And from that point forward, trash in New York City was in plastic bags. Residents preferred this because it was more sanitary, it smelled way less bad, and they weren't loud like the previous metal trash cans. But the obvious problem with this is the rats can very easily get into plastic trash bags. And so for years and years, they have been feasting and feasting. Meanwhile, there was a boom of bodegas in the 1950s. Immigrants were coming to New York City and they were opening these owner-operated corner stores. Oftentimes these were Puerto Rican, Dominican, or Cuban immigrants. And in modern New York, they're operated by a huge variety of culture. And bodega cats have been a staple at keeping rats and mice out of these stores this entire time. The problem is the cats are technically illegal. You're not allowed to have live animals in your retail food store operational area. That's for sanitation reasons and also for allergy reasons. I'm sure there's other liabilities involved, but I have to agree with the store owners on this one. The punishment for having rats or mice in your store is a fine. The punishment for having a cat in your store is a fine. And when it comes down to sanitation, cats are far and away the better option. Rodents spread a lot of diseases. They can reproduce very quickly and prolifically. Rats can have a litter of up to 12 pups, and they only need like an ounce of water and an ounce of food per day to survive, so they can get that very easily in a lot of places in New York. There is no stopping the mice and rats in the bodegas without the cats. There has been a $3.5 million effort to reduce the rat population, specifically in Harlem, which involves not only using these sealed containers, these are like apartment-sized sealed containers, but also they're making efforts to pick up trash 6 days a week, etc. In the meantime, bodega cats are really not going anywhere. This is a petition started by Dan Ramada, who operates the website Bodega Cats of New York, where they've advocated for legal protections for these cats for some time now. The hope is that there'd be a way to register these cats to bodegas, offer them free vaccination programs, and update the New York City code to reflect that the cats could stay. And in June, City Council member Keith Powers announced that he wants to legalize these cats. He says he plans to introduce a bill that would make it so these cats could get registered, access veterinary care, and no longer be illegal or cause their owners fines. We said that in June and I haven't seen it yet, Keith, so I'm watching you. Let's go. Let's legalize the cat. He is running for a Manhattan borough president, so don't be all talk. If you want people to vote for you, put the action behind the words. It would be so wild to get through this video and not mention Shop Cat. This account is run by comedian Michelle Adana, who goes around to different shops in New York City and features these cats. Fantastic content. I will tag her below. That is everything I know for now. Love y'all. Drink water. Bye.